Hello Aries, and welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and we're going to be taking a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks, helping you navigate all the opportunities in front of you. As always, you can use this for your sun, rising, or moon sign, and depending on your preference or when you find this, you can either watch it before the month or as the month is unfolding. I always begin my messages with channeled messages, and they vary from video to video. Today, you have a rather special connection here because instead of a totem or anything of that nature, I just had basically a clear download of change. And Spirit did use sort of visuals for this. In this case, it was a construction site, if you will. And specifically what I saw as I was waking up this morning and thinking about what I wanted to talk to you about was you driving on this road. There were signs, as there often are, saying slow down when you're in a construction zone. I saw cones and other sort of blocks to try to keep you, at a certain distance. But there was this sense of needing to see it anyway. The only thing that I would change in the dream was the speed with which you moved. You went through some of the cones and construction areas so fast that you ended up in an area where there was no pavement. And basically it was just, ground. And then this also took you to the construction zone itself. And so obviously, as you do something like that, you want to be mindful for safety and also mindful because you want to get a chance to make sure that you're not missing something along the way. So message number one from Spirit is to slow down. The second one is to be present. And by being present, you're going to figure out what's available to you, because in a construction sort of dream, this means that there are raw resources, things that haven't yet fully been built or constructed, and in that comes the ability to have an impact on the changes that are about to unfold. Now, I combine two of my favorite cards here when it comes to changes and beginnings, and it's the Tower and the Fool. The Fool is saying you're being invited in this period to walk through the tower, which is going to sometimes be messy, sometimes be unknown. And so you're going to lean on experts. This is a time where, you want to make sure that things are built to code. So you'll talk to an expert for something that you don't know. You'd want to make sure also that you have a GPS and you know where it's safe or where it's not. And then you also have this sort of curious or inventive energy where you want to explore all of the opportunities in front of you. To kind of consolidate all of this, if we look at the last 4 bullets, they're going to pull together what this really means for you, Aries, this month. 1, the blank slate is basically an invitation to be free. You don't have to, retread old paths. You don't also want to rush through any of this. Construction takes time, and there are certain things that have to be done in a certain order. So give yourself ample time to do things. And finally, if you find yourself in a situation where there isn't support, we could take the foundation as a symbol for that, then this is someone or something that you want to either need to address it and fix it, or you're going to move in a different direction. So I think the difficult thing for some of you this month is just ambiguity, comfort with change and comfort with ambiguity. And I think if you move with a sort of premeditated idea of what you're trying to do, and with caution and being fully present, you can really make a splash this month. You can really make an impact. And this is a chance to reinvent. You are not stuck in an old pattern at all based on what I was pulling up in my dreams last night. Okay, so let's now connect with the cards and see what additional messages are coming through. And I just want to say welcome, everybody. It's good to have you here. And let's get started. Let's get started, folks, beginning with the Catalyst card. And this month we have Choose Wisely. The card was in reverse. We see all of these sort of different directions and things that you can focus on. And I think the important thing for you is to give yourself time to consider everything. This is very much like a Seven of Cups card where you're looking at the different directions. And whenever like a Seven of Cups would be reversed, it gives you a chance to basically say, this is the one that pulls me in the most. I feel the most connection to that. So I think towards the beginning of the month, you can immerse yourself a little bit in research and exploring new paths and trying on new things. And then towards the end of the month, you'll hopefully land on the one thing that really feels right for you. And we see a person here kind of meditating in their own space. You might need to pull away from a larger group or this, because we're talking about new areas and new things. You might have to try a different environment for working, thinking, and meditating. And when it comes to negotiations or discussing things or clarifying things, that change of scenery could actually help quite a bit. All right, let's take a look at your centermost card. We have a beautifully illustrated Four of Swords. And this is a card of healing. You actually got a couple because your outcome also in the reverse is a Seven of Pentacles. Let's just look at these both in the upright position. This is kind of driving the whole thing, and this is where you're headed. So Seven of Pentacles is slow and steady recovery when it comes to time, money, energy, even your health. And this is the key to getting there. Again, it's slowing down. When the card is reversed, what it can indicate is a period of time where you have your calendar completely booked, or you're getting sleep, but you're waking up in the morning and you're feeling tired. Either way, there's a chance for you to reassess where you're putting your time and energy. Either it's exhausting you and depleting you, and what you're putting in is not equal to what you're getting out, or you're overcommitting and you're just not giving yourself enough time to recharge. So make sure that there is that safe space where you can just sort of curl up like we see this person here and take care of your heart, take care of your body, and also your spirit. I love that the heart in this one has been sewn back together. We can see the stitches right there, and we see this person kind of ready to throw their sort of energy back out there to get back in the sort of race, the show, etc. Take your time on that as well for those of you that are rebounding from a disappointment, from sadness, from loss. The Four of Swords is the promise from the universe that time does help, if not heal, just about everything. So if you don't rush, then you'll have a chance to be more calm, more cool, more collected. Because if you are walking into something that's changing, you need to really be solid yourself. So that's focus number one this month is personal health, your time, your energy, and the expenditure thereof. Let's make sure that you're not kind of like constantly running on an empty battery, okay? And pay special attention to your sleep habits, to where you're sleeping, make sure that you are comfortable. And if you take care of yourself in that way, then you're gonna set yourself up for success this month. Again, don't be surprised if there's so much going on this month that you have a hard time, sort of like you'll blink your eyes and it'll be done. That's why I want you to pace yourself. I also think you can edit your schedule. So if there's too much going on, delegate, say no, or just cut it out of the schedule. You need that extra time and space to breathe. You're coming through with a very appealing and attractive energy. We can even see it here in the crowning position here. So we have the Queen of Cups, now we have the Four of Wands. So this is love and creativity. These are people that are coming into your life that are drawn to that. We see a very attractive card here as well with the Magician. And I think basically here, there's so much to love as we look at near future and outcome that we want to help you keep that momentum. So one of the things that she's doing clearly in this card is meditation. So the Queen of Cups is in control of her heart. She's channeling new things and she's able to hold space. That cup is absolutely ready to receive. So I think the important thing for you to do this month is to find things in your life that bring you that sense of grounding, that fill your heart with love and joy. And it's a chance to prioritize these things as well. For those of you that traditionally are giving constantly or a lot to others, this is a chance to ask for something and or receive something with love and with gratitude, okay? Yes, if you're looking for love, it can come through absolutely. You're showing up as very lovable, as very deserving. So if you can focus on feeling worthy and feeling loved, that's going to help you out quite a bit. In the deep past, lo and behold, we have the Fool, and that was one of the featured cards. So the construction was what I was kind of building all of this around, which is something new, something unknown. The Fool is going into this with a feeling of optimism. She's also carrying an amethyst crystal. So you might remember I was talking about with the hard hat that you would wear in a construction zone. She's going to prepare and protect herself with information, with proper accoutrements like I just talked about, and basically move forward one step at a time. This is not a card of racing. It's not a card of rushing. It's not the Knight of Swords. One step at a time, and basically not carrying too much fear, anxiety, expectations, just being very open. The openness and the ability to try and embrace new things is I would say one of the superpowers that you could have this month to really getting through this with a bang and making a splash. All right, in recent past, we have the understanding here that it's time to move in a direction where maybe not everything is laid out. I talked about the fact that there was no road or road signs once you got to the construction site. So you may have to build something. You may have to ask questions. Not everything is going to be laid out in blueprints for you. So it's your chance to kind of create something. And sometimes that can feel a little bit, unnerving. But you have what it takes this month, Aries, because there is support, there is creativity, there is knowledge, there's more support, and there's building, there's construction. There's some other stuff which we'll talk about here, but lo and behold, and by and large, what I'm seeing here is everything is pointing in the right direction. What can you do with the Two of Swords? You can research, you can inquire, you can slow down and look at things from a different perspective. And don't listen to people that are overly critical. You can't please everybody. And sometimes the more you ask everyone has an opinion. So this is a chance to go inward. Two of Swords is saying, don't look here, look here. Use this eye. Find some other ways to kind of get where you're needing to go. You can't ignore something. So if there's a red flag, or as we were talking about the construction cones or whatever, and you see something where it's like, I think we have to address it, bring it up in real time. Don't wait too long. That's one of the things I would say with this. I love that you have the Four of Wands here in your crowning position. It is a reaction to you because you're coming through with, again, this very likable, very creative, very worthy card at the center. Other people are coming in and they want to be a part of this party. Basically, you're setting the stage for success. That's a big takeaway, Aries. You're setting the stage for success. And just like anybody who's worked in a theater production, you know that it's really important to get everything ready before the show begins. Test the lights, make sure that all the props work, make sure that the costumes are ready, and of course the actors are going to learn their lines. That's what this month is for you. It's rehearsal, right? You're going through rehearsal, you're going through the night before and getting all of it ready, and ultimately you will have the moment where the lights go on, the camera goes on, and people are ready, and they're ready and willing to show up. Many of them, you might even have people that are willing to help you with resources, with money, or with partnering up. So this isn't just a card of love, but by the way, it is. These two cards together are fantastic because this is love and this is fidelity or trust or partnership. And in business, these are good things too. Someone loves what you're doing and they want to support you. In love, it's the same thing. They admire what you're doing and who you are and what you stand for, and they want to be a partner with you in life. So no matter how you want to access these cards and the energy that they bring, they're portending good things for you, okay? Here's what's in the near future. Many of you are putting the final, it's kind of like the keystone in construction, that final stone that's bringing everything together. I do see you finishing what you set out to construct or do this month. This is a card of learning, it's teaching, and it's recognition. So for those of you in academia or those of you trying to complete something, we see people here who are ready and willing to kind of buy into that. This is a great card for those that are trying to get published or sign a deal or sign a contract. Again, it's showing recognition. In this particular deck, I always have one point of feedback. These aren't aligned with what you would normally see a signal like a traffic light looking like. They're kind of mixed. So the one thing that I would say, even though this is upright and very favorable, is don't send mixed signals. If you like something, say you like it. If you like someone, don't wait 2 or 3 days. Get back to them in a reasonable amount of time. And if you don't like something, don't pretend. Highlight it, edit it, change it. So this is a time to be really clear, because maybe that's one of the lessons from the past, is that kind of ambiguity isn't helpful, especially when moving into something new. It's good to know where you stand, right? And I think that's something to focus on. All right, as we look at how you are showing up this month, we have a card of achieving balance and you also landing on a decision. So it's cool that this card is upright, because whatever isn't clear, you're going to find your own clarity in your own decision. By the way, if you look really close here, she has what looks like scales right there on her arm, and now we have the scales of justice coming through. This is such a powerful card because it represents making your mind up, doing the right thing, creating, maintaining, and establishing balance in your life. All of those things. And you might also be in the company of a strong Libra, because this can be a Libra in your life as well. If you're thinking of going to court or fighting for something or trying to get legal approval for something, this is favorable because the card is upright. So you're just showing up as really having it all together. And I can almost hear some of you out there saying, but Nicholas, I don't have it all together. That's okay. That's why you're showing up. You have the capacity this month to create balance, work-life balance, financial balance, spiritual, mental, physical balance. You can bring it all together this month. This is a very beautiful card and clear card, and you have the ability to look at it from both angles. This represents empathy and this represents clarity, and you put those together and it's really, really good, folks. Now let's go to the environment where things start to get interesting, okay? So I love the Magician. The Magician can make almost anything happen. The Magician in reverse is a little interesting when it's in the environment. This can be someone who is trying to manipulate the optics of a situation. And we can see here the Five of Swords. It's not going to work, folks. You guys are very clear on what's going on. Let's just pull the cards upright so we can see the illustrations. So the Five of Swords, this is someone behind the scenes that may be trying to spread some nonsense, some gossip, etc. You can clear yourself of this. You do not have to be a party to it. I think it's really important, in fact, to just let someone know that that doesn't work, or that you're not interested in talking about that. There could also be someone in your life that has a hard time listening to a critique or feedback. Basically, they don't want to admit that they could have done something better. They also don't want to admit when they did something wrong. And so they may try to kind of throw smoke and dust and mirrors and sparkles in your eyes and get you distracted. So the main thing to do this month is to stay focused. Now let's look at how these actually can connect to you in a powerful way. The Magician, still in your energy, it's in your environment, which means it's also something that you emanate. When it's reversed, it's saying focus your attention and focus your energy primarily on one thing where you can make the biggest impact. Don't spread yourself too thin. Don't give someone too much mind if they're just doing what this crow or this raven is doing for this guy is like, ugh, not this again. And indeed, not this again. You're not gonna let somebody get into your headspace. We all have someone who you can't make happy. Sometimes it's your relative, right? It might be your mom, dad, aunt, sister, whatever. But we're not gonna let them get into the energy space right now because you have too many things pointing in the right direction. To that end, when we look at opportunities and hopes and fears, we have the Ten of Cups. It's a very positive card. Now, in the reverse state, it can represent peer pressure. So the one thing that you want to be mindful of this month is everything I just said. You can't make everybody happy. Now, it can also represent someone coming into your life unexpectedly and maybe even inconveniently, but nonetheless, it could be what you were doing all this work for. You were setting the stage for this. And they almost kind of flow together, you can see there. So be open to unexpected positive developments with respect to relationships. New love, new friendship, maybe more than expected sort of interest in your time and energy. So all of this work that you've been doing to call in, she's almost channeling and calling something in. This is the answer, but it happens faster. And just like I saw you ending up at that construction site really quickly, you may end up with a lot of people in your life faster than you thought. This is especially true for people that might be running a business, that might be trying to do some sort of outreach or get some attention or some traction behind something. This is basically showing, yes, it will happen, but it's hard sometimes to predict just how far, how fast. So pace yourself. And when this happens, you also have support, so you don't have to do this all on your own. All right, let's focus on your outcome. It is the Seven of Pentacles, which is a good card ultimately. What you can see here is something growing after being replanted or pruned or cut. So propagation, basically. If I were to, I actually have a tree that's a little off camera, but it's a plumeria plant, and I got it this season from someone on Etsy. And it took most of the summer to start blossoming. Let me see if I have a picture here. And then all of a sudden, it just, not blossoming, but the leaves started to grow. And then all of a sudden, it's looking really healthy. This isn't the optimal view of it, but here you go. That was from a start that had no leaves. And that all has happened over the course of the last 3 or 4 months. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. Is something that is taking its time to grow, but then all of a sudden you look out one day and it's like, wow. The reversal of this is saying don't rush it and don't go too far too fast. So with a plant like that, I only water it once a week. Sometimes I let it go a little bit more because plumeria don't want to be overwatered. So it's giving it just enough resources and then letting it take its time to kind of spread those roots. You overwater it, it could rot. So you want to kind of like make sure that you're not pushing something. Now, when it comes to your life, your money, and your resources, we can break down what I just talked about in some different perspectives. If you're recovering from an injury, it's important to go through your physical therapy, but you have to pace yourself and you have to listen to your body. And you push yourself just enough, but you don't want something to break again if you're trying to get it to mend. With your finances, if you're at a point where you're at the recovery spot, you now understand just how far you can flex and how much you can spend. And you know what's comfortable debt or not appropriate debt. So you're not going to overextend your finances. And with relationships, if you're getting to a point where you're starting to trust and starting to build, again, you know when and where to give and take. And that's really what this card is about. It's nicely paired with the Justice card. And Justice reminds you, no matter how you look at it, that there's always a different perspective. So you're going to weigh out both sides and make a good decision. Now, specifically when it comes to your money and your energy, the Seven of Pentacles is saying you may be just a little bit underpaid, or you might be putting a little bit extra energy into something. And this is about making sure that eventually things balance out. You'll know how long you can wait or how long you can push yourself or something like that. But this is a card of saying be mindful of that when it comes to eventually making sure that there is proper exchange for your energetic investment. Okay? Let's now expand this forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And we're going to start off with the card of health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. We have a beautiful card here. It says, the thin, thin veil, let go and let glow. Let's look at this in the upright position, even though it came through reversed. This card can actually represent mediumship, and it can also be about letting go of a ghost of the past too. It's interesting because this reading is for the month of November, and October 31st, November 1st, that's when the veil is the thinnest. And so for many of you, as the month begins, you're at this kind of pivotal space where you're taking your first steps into something new. The veil can also represent pulling back the veil and announcing something. So in this period of time, when things are taking shape and you can kind of see everything is glowy and foggy and you can't quite make out the details there, it's important, as we talked about, to take your time, take special care of yourself, to really focus on intuitive development. The meditation practice that's coming through with the center card, or the one that's crossing the center card rather, is so pivotal right now. This will help you get in tune with how you feel about things, and also a way to separate feelings from facts. And there'll be a little bit of that this month. So this is an important time to not push yourself too far, because we don't want you to lose that balance and that objectivity, okay? Beautiful, beautiful message and beautiful card here. If you have someone in spirit that you want to communicate with, this is a moment where they also want to communicate or connect with you. So again, meditation is a really great way for you to connect with those in the other realm. But one thing that I want to kind of put out there is, even if you haven't developed skills enough to perceive the assistance from your higher self, from your guides, and from those who have passed, that energy is always there. It can come through in the strangest ways. A song on the radio, a phrase that your loved one used to say coming out of someone else's mouth, sometimes even animal totems. For me, like a ladybug or a dragonfly or a hummingbird, all of those are really high vibrational and lucky symbols. So when I see those on my journey through life, it's usually an indication that I'm on the right path, either literally or figuratively. So be open to all the different ways that spirit communicates, including day-to-day life, real events that are happening around you. It doesn't always have to come through a vision or through clairaudient communication. As we look at the cards on a diagonal, I get 3 clear messages. This is about mental acuity and focus. There could be just a lot going on in your schedule right now or in your life. So being able to focus or concentrate, it might be a little difficult. There are a lot of different ways that you can clear up your mind. That can be through exercise, also talking to somebody, whatever you need to do to find that focus, that's key. One of the central messages that I'll just underline one more time is quality and quantity of sleep. Lots of things that can affect that, your exercise, hormonal balance, the sleeping environment, also what you're taking into your body, caffeine, etc. So obviously you want to work with a professional if that's not where that needs to be. And then balance in general. Finding a new balance for some of you between work and your social life, maybe balancing out your accounting so that you're not stressed out, just balance overall. Not putting something under the rug. So if you need to deal with something, the sooner you do it, the better. And the Two of Swords is just basically about coming to terms with that. Those are the main cards that pop out as far as like things that you need to focus on. Something that may be affecting some of you could just be environmental distraction. And it's coming from a person or a workplace for some of you where it's just difficult to get the message across. It's very hard to talk to someone or to a group of people that embody the Five of Swords. They don't listen very well. So if that's the case, it may be time to create a new path in front of you. And that was the construction energy. There are people that are more open and receptive outside of that. Lean into those groups or seek them out because it feels like that's where the focus needs and wants to be in the days ahead. I love the people energy here with the Four of Wands. This is exactly the type of energy that you want to be calling in. So focus more on people that march to the same beat of the drum that you do. And if there are people around you that just don't get it, it's okay, folks. Don't push yourself too far. We're reiterating a lot of messages that we talked about before, but the good news is most of these are pretty manageable. Very gentle forms of exercise could yield extremely positive results. From the very passive sort of meditation, I mean, it's a very powerful thing, but you don't have to do a lot to meditate. Just creating time, that's the biggest challenge here. That can yield such positive results. Walking, swimming, yoga, you don't have to necessarily break a sweat to get benefits. I actually had that piece of advice coming from my own general practitioner. He said, yes, aerobic exercise is important, but there are so many different types of exercise that can fit into a healthy way of living. And he also sees things like meditation as being important to the mind, body, and spirit. It's all connected, folks. So make sure that you're doing some of those gentler forms of exercise as well. And just taking a walk and changing the scenery can have such a sort of profound effect on your concentration and how you feel. Earlier today, before I did your reading, I was like, should I do it in the morning or the afternoon? I couldn't concentrate in the morning. I had everything ready. I'm like, no, I'm going to run an errand, get out into the world, get some vitamin D, see some sunlight. And I was so much better when I came back in the afternoon. So if you have a choice of when to start something or when to address something, do it when you're feeling ready and receptive, particularly if it's creative or intuitive. And that's pretty much everything for health. We're going to move on to the energy of wealth, which is resources, life purpose, and career. And inspiration came through on this. The card was reversed, but let's look at this card in the upright position. All the beautiful bees, the flowers, basically showing that this can be a very fertile month with respect to the development of an idea. Don't think too much. Don't overthink. Intuition is at its most powerful, like when you first receive it. I enjoy writing, and when I was back in school, one of the things I enjoyed writing was poetry. I think songwriters will totally get where I'm coming from on this. Sometimes something will come to you directly and it's like a first draft and it's exactly where it needs to be. Sometimes we piece it together and there's lots of little things and it's a tapestry, but those things that come quickly they're amazing and they're a gift. So if it's coming to you that way this month, a solution, an idea, an inspiration, just accept it and embrace it, and don't sort of like let that go. The muse comes, when it wants to, and embrace it when it does. It feels like you might be able to think your way through a problem. This is like an Ace of Pentacles. If I had to pull inspiration or a light bulb card, I would say like an Ace of Pentacles is here. This is the time to play your ace. This is a chance to put your energy behind something that gets you excited. And that's what you should be finding in your extracurricular activities, your free time, fun sort of activities, hobbies, sports. And then also for those of you that are working, this needs to be a part of the day-to-day work experience or school experience. Let's try to break it down into all those different paths and see what's in front of you. Okay. Something new that I'm trying here is for those that are starting or restarting their career. So whether you're very, very young and going to school, or you're mid or latter life and you're trying to turn a new leaf, this is you. So for those that are starting or restarting, again, giving yourself time to take care of yourself, making sure that you have enough battery at the beginning of the day to make the most of it. That's the first message here. What I see here is don't feel the need to explain to others. Just do what you need to do. And especially if you're restarting your career and it's, people around you that are just like trying to convince you out of that, your power, lean into that. And don't let them get into your headspace and convince you that you don't have what it takes. The cards show me that you've got it together. Okay, so that's the important thing here. Clarify your vision for your own purposes, for yourself. And here's the good news: whether starting or restarting, there is support. It could be the advice of friends and family. It could be a newfound group, but get out there and talk to people who are doing it and who have done it, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And that's going to help you get further, farther, faster. But remember, one of the kind of tenets of this month is don't rush. You want to focus on quality as well. And here's the thing, one step at a time, folks, to get there. Yes, it's a good time to go back to school or go to school. This is a collegiate or a higher learning or specialization card. So Three of Pentacles very nicely connects with school and training for those of you that want to do it. If you're looking for a first job or a new job, this card is also about friends and family. Okay? So it's a good month to launch and to begin or to restart. For those that are mid-career, well, there's a challenge for some of you. You're not feeling appreciated. The Two of Swords, when we're looking at relationships, when we're looking at work, sometimes is a lack of communication or someone who's trying to ignore. So if you feel underappreciated, again, some of it might have to do with culture and the place that you're working or spending time. You can create a new pathway if it isn't there. You might be able to even create a special interest group or a club or an activity at that place to bring people or like-minded people together. Power in numbers. So if you want to affect change, I saw the tower even though we don't see it in this spread. So you could do a grassroots effort to make the change happen if that's something you're interested in. The good news here is this is a recognition card. This is usually good, kind of like through the grapevine, good feedback. And this is someone you can trust. So I actually feel like you have allies that you could create movement in with respect to, if you needed to get a promotion or a raise or get attention. Definitely this month, we see the ability to put things in the right direction. I will say that at the end of the day, things might fall a little bit short of expectations with how much you receive. You can get a decent amount of what you want, but it might be 20 or 30% shy of expectations, and you'll have to decide if that's enough. But I see a lot of power with partnering up with others, so don't underestimate your networking capacity this month, okay? For those of you that are retired, unemployed, or not focused on work, The good news for you is what we see is this is a great time to learn, take up some sort of a new skill. It's a really good time to meet new people. And if you're trying to find love, to network and find new friends, or simply to reach a larger audience, for those of you that might be volunteering, this is really, really great stuff. The main thing across the board is whether you're starting or restarting, in the middle of your career or retired, whatever you're doing should make you feel like balanced and fulfilled and engaged. And if something's wrong or something's out of balance or legitimately isn't right, this is the month to fix it, okay? Overall, I like that we have the Seven of Pentacles here. It shows me that you have more than enough resources. It's just about not extending yourself too much, okay? This includes those that are retired or volunteering, as well as those who are working or studying. Everybody can put themselves into too many activities, so pull back just a little bit. Get some more sleep, folks. That's what I'm seeing here. But otherwise, I love the inspiration thing. People are also interested in what you have to say or your ideas. One thing I would say here is protect your ideas, since this card came through, and that will put you in a good space. All right, now let's move on to love and relationships. Your card for this is the owl, with the next word in it being magic. And if we wanted to connect this with a card in tarot, it would be the Magician. So the interesting thing with the Magician card is if I'm looking at a love spread, it's usually about chemistry. You either feel it or you don't. And so one thing that Spirit is kind of calling out in this moment is to honor those emotions and do the right thing. So if you're not feeling it, or you sense they're not feeling it, this is a time where you're not going to waste time and energy trying to make that happen. When it's meant to be, it's meant to be. All right, let's read this card and kind of we'll apply it to all the different types of relationships in just a moment. So choose to know the truth because you can. Open to your inner vision. You can see through deception. Let the past go and make room for a better life. Rise up. Magic and wisdom are your birthright. The main things that I'm pulling from this is the inner knowing. You know the truth. And then inner vision, that's the Magician coming through as well, connecting to how it feels and being able to see through things. I think these are really important things to look at in relationships. Now, let's take a look at 3 different stylings of relationships. Those of you in a relationship looking for love, or single and happy, starting with those in a relationship. As I hinted at just a few moments ago, the most valuable thing you can do is to validate the partner that you have in your life and say, thank you, I see you, I appreciate you. This makes a difference or means a lot. If you need validation, you can ask them directly and say, hey, is this what you were looking for? Or I worked really hard on that. Is this worth my time, or do you want me to do something else? Like, get the feedback that you need. And it's not needy. It's actually just trying to understand. You got a lot of things you can focus on. Is this helping or is this not? And that's what you can even say. I really want to make sure I'm putting my time and energy into something that works for both of us. Your meditation this month is going to be really important so that you can basically sort out your own emotions from your partner's. Some of you are trying to find a better balance in your life so that relationships have more time or a bigger part of the pie. And if you are trying to balance in work, you'll be able to figure this out. It's choices, it's compromise. The challenge this month is just about communication. So some of you are feeling not appreciated. Sometimes when you approach your partner or when they approach you, there is this feeling of, I don't want to go there, or here we go again, or one party not listening, or one party trying to be right. It's not about right versus wrong. It's about trying to see it from both sides and trying to find a place where you can be one another's advocate. So I do feel like there's a little bit of work to do in communication. The other thing is, maybe everything's good between the two of you, but the extended family or the community around you is pressuring you. And at the end of the day, it's the two of you that matter the most here. You're harmonizing, you're making this work. We even see this beautiful harmony card here at the end. So that's the key thing. As long as you two are feeling connected and everything feels like it's where it needs to be, perfect. More of that. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to focus on with this. Money, of course, is something that you might need to discuss. And one or both of you might be focusing a little bit more on training or school. And again, so I think it's just finding the right balance this month. Open, honest, kind communication. If you need to rekindle the flame, this seems to come up almost regularly. This is a time to do that. By and large, most of these cards are pretty manageable, so I feel good about existing relationships. For those who are ready to call in love, the Choose Wisely card comes through. So this is for those that are single and looking, and it's basically saying a few things. First and foremost, it would be a great time to meditate and say, universe, I am ready to receive love. I am worthy of receiving it. And I'm at a place in my life where it's not the end all be all, because that sense of ease is going to allow it to come in a lot more quickly and a lot easier as well. Because when you try to pull it in too much, or when you feel like it's all or nothing, then it starts to get really difficult for a partner to enter in with that energy. They feel the intensity of it. So one thing that you can also add to your manifestation mantra is, I'm more than enough. We talked a little bit about this on the last weekend collective that I did. You're more than enough for yourself. You're more than enough for someone else. And because of that, your Ace of Cups is bubbling over. And now you can receive someone who's done the same work. You're not looking for completion with them, and they're not looking for completion with you. You're not looking to fix them, and vice versa. So entering at it with a very balanced energy is going to be important. They're not necessarily cups, but they're receptors here with the Justice card, basically. So you want to make sure that you're pulling in someone that has the same energy as you, so you don't have to balance them out. All right, let's take a look at all the cards here. For many of you, one of the things that's coming through loud and clear this month is, even if you're looking for love, you may be focusing more on friends, and your kind of general network is opening up a lot. The person that you're seeking out could actually come from friends and family. So say yes to special events. Make sure you're putting yourself out there as much as possible during this season. And because we are entering into the holidays soon, it's a good time to mix and mingle. You never know what might come of that. You might also meet someone with whom you have an initial connection, but it seems you're not sure. It could start off as friends, and it could lead to something more. The Four of Swords can be a past life connection. It's one of the transitional cards in tarot. So we have like Four of Swords, Six of Swords, the Death card. So this is a connection to the past. And this is a chance for you again to recognize that connection, possibly deepen it when you feel that sort of that vibe between the two of you as well, the chemistry, and then things could progress pretty quickly. There could be a Libra in the midst here with the Justice card. And again, I think the main thing is when it is the right time and when you connect, you won't need me. You're just going to feel it. The Magician absolutely knows. So you either feel it or you don't. If you are having arguments with someone or it's very contentious, really decide if it's worth it. This is something here where there may be chemistry, but communication is key to a strong relationship. And that's the one sort of warning that I would put out there. It looks like there's some advancement between your finances or work this month. So work-life balance is something that could be challenging if you're bringing in a new relationship. Again, I think the main thing here is also to figure out exactly what type of relationship you're looking for. Is it something where it's long-term and serious? Or is it something where you're just vibing and getting to know them and there's more of that friend energy? Because it could go in either path here. For those that are single, for those that are single and happy, retired, or you're not focusing so much on relationships, you still have a chance to really, really network and do some amazing things with that network. For some of you, this could be furthering we talked about this with work, it could be furthering a cause, because we see these productive cards very close to the social cards. So it's a great time to basically do a grassroots sort of effort if you want to. And for you, I think one thing that you could really focus on is your healing and your financial health as well, because there's an opportunity to make some leaps and bounds in that space this month. All right, let's move on to your Destiny card. We have a beautiful message here. It says connect with music. And then there's a gratitude message at the bottom, just thanking the angels for inspiring you. For some of you, this is literal. If you are a musician or an artist out there, music may be something that helps you kind of get into the right space. If you're trying to do something new like exercise or meditate, this can also be advantageous. There are different stylings of music that can help you with different things. Sleeping as well, since some of you might be having difficulty with that. Try music therapy or try it as a form of focus or concentration and see if it doesn't assist you. This is also about harmony, which we could connect with this, finding balance, finding harmony. And in this particular month, everything should be creating something that is sounding and feeling right. We don't want discordant or disruptive energies. It should all be part of a larger tapestry, or sort of like that musical energy that we even see in this beautiful Ten of Cups. Okay, great messages so far. We're going to take it a step further and look now at sun, rising, and moon. All right, let's take a look first at sun sign messages. We have the Hierophant in reverse. For some of you, there could be a little bit of a challenge in getting organized. There may also be a challenge from an authority figure or a gatekeeper. And so this card is basically reminding you of the importance and the power that you already have within. In many decks, in the traditional illustration, you would see 2 keys at the foot of this particular card, plus someone who is kind of expecting people to just listen. Once you get to a certain part of your life, this is particularly for those of you that might be working or retired, there comes a point where you're like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need permission. And it's okay if you disagree with me. There's a comfort in it's like comfort and confidence in your sort of general personality that's coming through really strongly. Now, for those that are younger, what we see here is that wisdom and age are not necessarily mutually exclusive or inclusive. They can diverge, and there can be a point here where a young person has a lot of wisdom, an old person may lack wisdom. So let's move beyond any sort of age discriminatory sort of things. And, if someone in your life has a lot to teach you and a lot to sort of show you, whether they're younger or older, that might be someone worth connecting more with. That's another interesting piece with this. So for you, keep an open mind this month. If you need to get organized, get organized. If an existing structure doesn't work, remember the channeled messages and break it down and move into something that does. This is a month where if you choose to reconstruct, rebuild, or renew something, you have all of that energy at your fingertips. One last note, and then we'll go on to the rising. This is also highly connected with your spiritual practice. So for those of you that want to lean into meditation a little bit more, the Queen of Cups, the Magician energy, and also that High Priestess energy or the Hierophant energy, they're all connected. Again, you may be deciding to try something new or different, not necessarily what worked for your parents or grandparents. There might be something different that you're more connected with. All right, that was Sun. Now we're going to move on to Rising. Rising, it's a pretty great card actually overall. We have the Nine of Cups. It's upright, it's euphoric, it's a celebratory card. So one thing that this is reminding you to do is to take a moment to celebrate your progress, the progress of others, and just generally speaking, to put more fun and playtime into your life. It's not just for kids in school. As adults, we need it. We need time with our friends, with our partners, with our mentors. Put that into the equation. You can see her jumping out of this treasure chest. This is also a time to share your love, your energy, possibly even your resources with others. The only thing to be mindful of with the Nine of Cups, since we are looking at the month of November, which spills into some holiday periods, you want to make sure that you're not overdoing it when it comes to anything that brings joy. Yes, I want you to be happy, but moderation is key. So when it comes to drinking, eating, spending, energy, even exercising, anything can be done to an extreme, and this card is reminding you not to go overboard. It's upright though, so it does look like there's some good stuff coming through. Try, however, to keep your cool, calm, collected self, just like we saw with the Queen of Cups, and that's going to be advantageous for you. All right, let's now take a look at the moon sign messages. We have a page of swords coming through here, and she's tiptoeing across that sword. Could she be balancing many more things? I don't think so. Look at all the stuff here. We have the light bulb aha moments, which we kind of got here with the inspiration. So I was mentioning there could also be like an Ace of Wands energy coming through. She's going to take it to the next level, communicate it and share it with others. We see research or writing. The only thing that's lacking in this Page of Swords is connecting to the environment. So I think one thing that you can do is listen, look, because we also have a card that's not focusing on what's going on. So listen and look at what's going on around you. Make sure that there's not something obvious. And I would say do less, but do it better. She's doing everything under the sun, but it's a sort of like tenuous and very sort of tentative kind of balance that she has here. And I think it would be better if it was a little more focused. So when it comes to communication, when it comes to action, and when it comes to listening, make sure that you are very tuned in and that you're not overstimulated or overspending your time and energy, which is nicely connected to a lot of the stuff that we talked about earlier. By and large, these are three great cards when we're looking at what's coming through. The ability to create or remake a structure, some good news, but a need to practice moderation, and a chance to focus. I mean, the Page of Swords is still a really great communicator. So at the end of the day, again, for my moon folks out there, this is really saying you have a chance to make a splash and impact when it comes to the way that you're talking. Okay, let's move on to your final question and final card. Here's how this works. I'm sure there's one thing that's going on in your life that I haven't yet covered, even though I do my best to look at all of this. So now's your chance to hold that question in your mind and ask Spirit whatever it is that you need some clarity on, and then I'll let you know what I see. Okay, we do have a card of accountability. If I'm going to get the Seven of Swords, I'd rather get it reversed. This is basically saying if someone is trying to get away with something, you'll see it. If someone isn't being accountable, it's time to speak up. And as a sort of reality check from Spirit, it's basically just saying follow through on your promises, on your obligations, on your agreements this month, and make sure that you're not representing that character. When it also comes to starting something new, which is what we kind of kicked off this whole reading talking about, take the first step when you're truly ready, when you can commit mind, body, and spirit and think, I've got this, I want this, I'm ready. That's when you're really going to see the impact that you expect to see, and that's when things start to come together. So keep your promises, expect the same of others. If someone's acting a fool, call them out, make sure that that's not happening any longer. And generally speaking, the Seven of Swords in reverse is saying, as long as you are accountable, that you are basically leading by example, and as long as you're aware of others and what they're doing, you should be fine this month. It is not a outright yes card. This is a kind of like what we saw with the construction things. Proceed with caution, ask questions, tune in, look at what's going on, and be accountable. And I'll report exactly what I see from Spirit because I'm not sure exactly how you formulated your question. But it is an empowered version of this because it was reversed, but you still have to be aware of what's going on. And it's really interesting. I've noted this before, but the 5 and the 7 of Swords are like cousins or brother and sister. Where you see one, you see another. And they almost kind of look like they're in the same general energy or vicinity. 5 of Swords, again, someone that's not listening or isn't telling the whole story. This is someone that's really just trying to get away with something or isn't being accountable. So these are things to be mindful of in your environment so that you can have the best possible month. And most of the cards today really do lean towards that because we have this highly creative and passionate card. We have a lot of people that want to come forth. We see advancement of resources. We see a connection to source energy. And you know what? I was just reminded of one thing here. On this relationship card, we also had a message saying, you can see through deception, so don't worry about it. This is just an acknowledgement of that. You'll see through things a mile away. The key is, are you listening to your intuition? Because the Magician or High Priestess reverse sometimes isn't. So that's my last message is listen to your heart. Okay? That, my friends, is everything today. I hope you enjoyed this reading. It was really special for me to be able to be present and to share the very, very clear vision that I had in dreams. I hope that helps you as well. Do me a favor, if you're brand new, hit the subscribe button. I put out new videos quite often. I'll talk about that in the next slide. But this way you will not miss anything. You can also click the bell to make sure that you select all notifications, and you can do 1 like per video, so thanks. I do new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Friday, live streams on Sundays at 9 a.m. Pacific, and a daily card reading. So check out my main channel page if you're brand new, or if you haven't been here in a while, so that you can catch up on some of those. A quick note, if you'd like to get reminded of when I go live on other social networks, Almost everywhere except for Twitter, it's Nicholas Ashbaugh. My full name, no additional characters, no secret accounts or anything. To that end, if anybody comes through and tries to pretend to be me and message you, let me know in the comments and I will then report that. I don't use direct messages and I don't offer private readings. So it's like a big old obvious red flag if someone tries to offer one of those. If you want to show some support, you can do it right here on YouTube with super stickers, super chat, memberships. And when this is on replay or if I post a video, there's a thanks button and it's with the heart, and that's another way to give back. And if you ever have any questions about anything, go to my website and all of my links are put there. And usually a couple days after the videos are posted, I also post a link to them as well. And that, my friends, is everything. Thank you so much for being a part of this reading, for taking some time out of your schedule, and for choosing to spend it with me. You have a lot of choices here, and it means a lot that you decided to spend it with me. So lots of love and light. I hope to see you soon. And until then, take special care.